Hi everyone, hopefully you're all getting notifications that I'm on live. Today we're going to talk all about mud kitchens, which is one of my favourite topics. I can go crazy about mud kitchens. I've got some of you joining now. Hi! If you can hear me, can you let me know? It's always a worry with technology whether you can hear me or not. So just let me know if you can hear me. Let me know where you're from as all of you join me to learn all about mud kitchens. I'm going to try and keep this short. I'm way excited. I've set up a whole bunch of things for you and I can't wait to show you everything. It's going to be so exciting. But today, we're going to be learning all about mud kitchens. I'm going to show you my mud kitchen, but we will start with going through what is a mud kitchen. Oh, you can hear me, thanks. Tamara, Gabriella, thank you. Oh, you're from Mexico, wow. Let me know if you can hear me and let me know where you're from, it'd be nice. Oh great, hi Annie. So yes, today we're going to talk about what a mud kitchen is. Hopefully most of you know what a mud kitchen is, but if not, you will definitely know by the end of this video, or this live, sorry. And then we're going to talk about why they're awesome. They're amazing. I can just tell you they're amazing. We're going to talk about how to create one. So I'm not going to show you how to build one, but I will show you how you can set a really simple one up today in your backyard. You don't actually have to build a whole mud kitchen. So we'll talk about that. From San Diego, California, and Ontario, Canada. Wow. No Australians yet. Is there anyone from Australia yet? And yes, then I've got a whole bunch of lovely mud kitchen ideas ready because I've set out. Now, I have to let you know that my mud kitchen doesn't look this clean very often, and it also looks very inviting. It was very, very hard for my daughter this morning. She was like begging me to go into the mud kitchen and play, and I had to say to her, you're just going to have to wait until this afternoon. So she's like dying to get in there because I set it up with everything. And I want to let you know that I don't usually set it up like that. It's really a free play activity. That's the reason I have a mud kitchen. It's very free play related. So just letting you know, I don't set it up like this. I'm setting it up entirely for you. And my kids are going to reap the benefits. Okay, so let's start with what is a mud kitchen. So a mud kitchen is, the birds are really noisy today. Hopefully we don't get kookaburras like last week. They were very, very noisy. So a mud kitchen can be really simple. So we're going to just talk about mud kitchens, then I'll take you over and have a quick look at all the setup that I have. But it can be just a bowl of mud with a whole bunch of utensils. It can be a little dirt, like muddy area in your backyard. Or it can be like a sink with, it on a table and having spaces to play. And it can almost look like a real outdoor kitchen. So it really doesn't have to be big. It can be really simple. And I will show you the difference between a simple mud kitchen and my mud kitchen, the good mud kitchen that I have in the backyard. The benefits of a mud kitchen are endless, honestly. It gets your kids outside to play a lot. They get creative in their mud kitchen. They're learning developmental skills because they are using different materials to experiment, to investigate, to problem solve. They are mixing different materials. They're encouraged to do free play and it's permanently there. It's like this fixed invitation to play and they'll go back and forward from it at different times. They're learning all about cooking without wasting food, kind of. I'll talk about food in a minute, but they are learning all those skills. And if you've got a child that's a little bit sensitive to sensory activities, this is a really nice way to introduce them to those things, especially if they don't like mud. I'll always remember I set up a mud kitchen when I was a Cub Scout leader for a whole bunch of Cub Scouts, and I literally just had buckets of mud and water and all sorts of different materials, and we had one little girl who was really struggling with touching mud. By the end, she wasn't all into it. She wasn't into it still. She was gently touching it and moving it around by the end of end of it, but she wouldn't even go near it at the start. And if she had a mud kitchen permanently in her backyard, she'd really learn that mud is comfortable and exciting to play with and not scary and not something that's going to make you really sick. So, and also mud kitchens give parents downtime as well. Just another invitation to play that's so great, because they do spend so much time out there. When they're little, you will have to supervise depending on the materials that you set out in their mud kitchen. But when they get a little bit older, they're so used to the mud kitchen and they're used to the materials that you've set out for them that you can loosen the reins more and more, and they really enjoy independent, unstructured play in their mud kitchen. And it's also really beneficial. Like, I find my girls, when they're feeling a little bit rattled or cranky, they tend to go to their mud kitchen a lot because it's just this quiet space. It can also be used so it can be used for independent play, and it can also be used for social play. So it's really great because all my children get in there. So I have a 13-year-old and 10-year-old twins, and they still love their mud kitchen, and they're very excited about this afternoon. but they've been playing in that for years. So it's really good for young children all the way up till the age so far, still working for me. So, again, you don't need a lot of money to set up a mud kitchen. I'm going to show you all the materials that I have. My mud kitchen was made by my stepfather, so really great when Christmases or birthdays come up. Ask someone handy or make it yourself, because I'm pretty handy. I probably could have done it myself. And just, you can make your own mud kitchen. So it's actually quite cheap. You can get everything from secondhand stores or offcuts or pallets, or you don't even need to build anything at all, and I'll show you that in a minute. And you don't need a lot of space. Space is always helpful, but if you only have a veranda or you have a very small backyard, you can set up just a bowl of mud with a few utensils. And yes, it's going to be muddy. Yes, it's probably going to get dirty, but I have some preparations. I have something set up to show you that, it doesn't have to get too dirty for you. I have a friend who absolutely hates her daughter playing with mud, and so when she used to come over to my house, she really struggled because her daughter really wanted to play in the mud kitchen, and she was really anxious about her child playing in the mud. And I think that's because the way you've been brought up. If you've been told not to play with mud, and if you've taught your children to be anxious about getting dirty, they can feel really anxious about playing with mud, and the parents still feel that way because it's usually a trigger from their parents. So I can say that when she comes over now, she's allowed to play in the mud. There's still a little bit of uncomfortable, and that's totally okay. It takes time to change, but it's really lovely to see her relax and let her daughter play in the mud, and we just wash it all off at the end. So when she comes over, I just set up a little bit more. I'm pretty relaxed about dirt and mud, like really relaxed. I'm like, I don't even set up this washing area for my kids. They just come in and rinse it all off. But when she comes over, I generally would set something like that up for her so that she feels more comfortable with the concern of germs and dirt being involved in mud play. Oh gosh, so Kansas City, wow. Hi Sue from Massachusetts. New Zealand, hi Trisha. And yes, so I think we might just jump into the materials. I might quickly go through the safety considerations first before I take you over to show you all the goodies before I keep going. So with safety concerns, I would suggest that you use soil and not potting mix. So where we get our soil from is just a landscaper. They allow us to go and grab bags of dirt and sand, and I'll tell you about the sand in a minute. And the sand, so I usually get the soil from the landscaper. So you want to air that out if you can. So if it's been sitting in a bag, you want to air that out before they play with those things. You might like that Soapy wash station for your kids. I'll just show you. It's pretty much just a bucket of water and soap, and they can wash their hands in it. Make sure when you've got a mud kitchen that you're clearly defining those spaces, that mud doesn't come inside. We've had that happen before when they were younger. They like to come inside and bring and show you the creation that they've made, and it can get get a little messy. So just make sure you're constantly reminding them, just remember the mud kitchen stays out the mud kitchen. Call me out. I'll come and see it. And just make sure that your children, if you're worried about dirt, again, I'm really relaxed about this, but that they might have a set of mud clothes that they wear when they're playing the mud kitchen, or you've got aprons for them to wear, so that if you're really worried about the dirt and mess, then you can just put those in place so it doesn't cause too much of an issue. And when your children are playing in the mud kitchen, just like what I was talking about with the invitations to play last week, just subtly add materials to their play. If you see them getting into something like experiments and you want to bring some different materials in, just make sure you do that subtly and don't try not to interrupt what their play. If you're interested in trying to if they've kind of not been playing with their mud kitchen for a while, you might like to just have a think about what they would be interested in, or freshen it up. So all the materials, as I said, I don't put them all out at once. I tend to just kind of, whatever's seasonally available, I will bring it in, or I will, mix it up with a different material, or put some new tools out occasionally, and that usually sparks interest again. You know what the best way to get them playing their mud kitchen again is to clean it. For some reason, they will mess the whole mud kitchen up, and it'll be muddy for weeks, and you're like, oh, they haven't been playing for a while. I'll hose it off and it'll be clean and pretty and nice, and then they are literally back in there half an hour later just playing with mud kitchens, and just hose it off and they'll be back in again. It's really funny that it works that way, but they just tend to like it clean. It's like a fresh slate. Great, now I can muddy this up again. A bit like their bedrooms. Another thing is, if your child's a bit uncomfortable about playing in mud, role model. Go in and get dirty with them. It is so much fun. If you're on my Instagram account, you would have seen I posted a video of one of my younger daughters in a bowl of mud, and she was like standing in it and squishing in it, and we both ended up getting our feet in it and getting really dirty. It was actually really fun. So get your hands in there. You will love it. If you're creative, or you like anything creative, you're going to enjoy Mud Kitchen as much as your kids. It is really, really fun. Okay. I think that was it. So now I'm going to turn around and show you everything. I have a couple of questions. Naomi, if you have any questions, please let me know. And also let me know if you have a mud kitchen. I'm not sure if you can post your photos in the comments, but if you do have a photo of a mud kitchen, please put it in the comments, or let me know what kind of mud kitchen you have. I would love to see the photos of your mud kitchen if you already have one. And so I think Naomi asked, what materials would you add to a mud kitchen? I think she's just got the general ones. I've got a whole bunch laid out, Naomi, so I'm going to show you those. I think, Dami, we've already talked about small spaces, and I'll show you those smaller little areas that they sometimes play with mud in our backyard. And what was my other question? I can't remember where it is. I think I'll get to, it's water, so I'll show you that in a minute. Okay, I did something to my phone, sorry. I touched it and it went away. Okay, so I might just get rid of my notes. So if I jump all over the place, because now you've got me. Like, I don't have my notes in front of me. Okay, so I'm just going to go back this way and show you this muddy area that she's kind of, hold on, I'll just show you. Okay, so that is what we were playing in the other day. It's now dried out a little bit, but this is just a bowl of mud. You can see they've actually been playing with it, because they've got just some, like a jar and some sticks. So that's literally all you need sometimes, is just a bowl of dirt and a whole bunch of utensils can sit around it. So if you just have a deck or you have a small space, you can really just set that up. And then, so that's one little space. Now, just remember, I provide my kids with a mud kitchen. They have a mud kitchen, but this is another area that they like to play with mud. We've had a lot of rain lately, so this is see, just a little dirty area. It's got moss on it and dirt. They like to play in this area as well, so they don't need a mud kitchen. They will go and play anywhere. Just have the utensils for them and they'll start playing, and a little bit of mud. I keep wanting to, I really want to put native plants in this space, but I just can't do it because I really enjoy playing in that area. So no native plants. I do want to say that what complements a mud kitchen and what's really important for a mud kitchen, in my opinion, is not just to have a mud kitchen, but to have an array of native plants in your backyard. So whether you have a small area, you can easily do that by putting plants in pots. And you want to look for native plants that have seed pods and really like interesting leaves and flowers and anything that's going to give them the chance to pick and prod and pull little bits off for their mud kitchen. Our backyard was pretty, like, there was not much in it when we first moved in, and thankfully I love native plants and gardening, and honestly now I have so much that the girls can go out and collect on their own and bring to the mud kitchen, so I don't necessarily have to set up anything for them because I have all of this nature provided for them that they can pick and prod and use within whatever they're creating in their mud kitchen. So I just want to highlight how important it is to bring nature into your backyard, because it's not just for a mud kitchen. Nature in your backyard is going to give them lots of play opportunities, but this is just going to be really useful. Carla has a pop-up mud kitchen. Yes, you can put it up and take it away. In your classroom, it's just a bucket of mud, lots of worms in it. Oh, that sounds like a great mud kitchen with worms. I haven't tried that. Okay, I'm going to turn you around and we're going to show you my mud kitchen. Okay, so this is our mud kitchen here. I might move back a little. As I said, I've set this area up. They have a table next to it because they just like a lot of space to get messy. But you can see it's pretty simple. It used to have a little backing on it that hung different tools up, but it fell apart. So we've had it for a number of years. But you can see it's still doing well. I have baked a cake already for you, a mud cake. But I'm just going to go through. So the utensils that you can have in your mud kitchen, I mean, it can have a lot. I mean, look, there's any utensils that you would have in your kitchen can come out here. Now, all of these can be bought for, whoopsie, all of these can be bought really cheaply at dollar stores, op shops, secondhand stores. That's where I get all of mine. This one I bought recently. I feel like stainless steel is really good because it just lasts longer. So that one we've had for years. A mortar and pestle. Kids love to squish things up and move them around. I hate the noise of them, but they love doing it. Rolling pins and sifters and colanders and saucepans and all sorts. One thing I would suggest is one of these, like if you can find any trays, because they love tipping their cakes onto something and then moving them around. It's really good to have these. I actually bought this the other day from a secondhand store. It actually has, I don't know if I can move it, probably not. It's actually like a trophy for someone. So I bought that, I think it was $4. So it was such a bargain. So you can see down here that I have dirt and I have sand. And I'll just turn it around. The reason I have dirt and sand is because, well, it gives them different materials to use in their play. Sand is really good because it helps to mold the mud a little bit better. So the girls really experiment with those two materials, not just dirt, even though it's a mud kitchen, it's a mud and sand kitchen, because, yeah, it just gets them to experiment with it. There's like sand is white and mud is brown, so they get to make different colours. They like to do layer cakes, and it just gives them the opportunity to have a little bit more exploration with materials. Sometimes I put them in jars, you know, with like our old jars where we might have got self-raising flour and things, and so it just gets them thinking about their materials in different ways and experimenting too. So that if they put too much sand in, it might not quite work, but if they put a certain amount of mud in and sand in, it works beautifully. They use the sand to sprinkle as well. So I've got little salt and pepper shakers. This one's just got sand. So you can see that's just sand. And in this one, it's got dirt and sand, which looks like pepper. I don't think I might have to, I can't do it with one hand, just put them on that. But you can see it looks like pepper. So it's really great because they can, you know, pretend like they're actually cooking in their mud kitchen. Water, just quickly water. So if you don't have a mud kitchen, if you have your mud kitchen but you don't have access to water, because that is hard, because when kids, I mean, obviously they want to use a lot of water in a mud kitchen. I don't have mine tapped up or anything, and I probably wouldn't. The amount of water they would use would be enormous. I do have a hose around the corner, so I purposely put my mud kitchen in a place that would be easy just for me to hose it off. So if you can put it near a water source, it is going to be easier and save you time. However, if you don't have water, one of these, I'll just turn it around again. One of these things, I can't remember what they're called. I bought these secondhand as well. So you can just grab one of those. They get really muddy, but it means that they can use the water whenever they like, and you don't have to go and top them up, or they're not going inside and then back outside and inside with water for their mud kitchen. So you can also create this. This can also be really good for washing their hands. So in here I've got like a bucket. As I said, I'm not really worried about this sort of stuff, but you can have soapy water that they can wash their hands in, and they can rinse it again with that little container there. So I know that someone asked a question about water, so that's how we would do it, and how we do it now, but it is nice to have access to water. Let me know if you have any questions. Make sure you put any questions down if I'm talking too fast. Okay, so let's show you all these other materials that you can put in your mud kitchen. So in here we have gum nuts. I'm not sure if in Australia we have gum nuts. They're like a seed pod. They're really cute. But the girls love playing with those ones. I'm not even sure what pods these are. We get them from my mum's house, and they always have so much, and they're just great. We have more little pods. We have like different coloured dirts. So we just like to, they just love using different colours in their play. So if you can find different dirts that have a slightly different colour from where you live, they are really, really great just to take a little bit and then use them in their mud kitchen. So really just use lots of different seeds. As I said, we are often looking, we watch the seasons as a family. So if I see that something is in season, I will collect not a heap of it. I'm pretty conscious to not take too much from the environment. So I take as much as I need, or I pick and choose from different areas so that I'm not putting stress on the plant or on the wildlife that might utilize those things. And I will bring little bits home for them to play with. So I am very conscious about nature and taking from nature. But yeah, I just collect them, and then when I run out, I know that I'll have some next year, because you get really good at looking around you and watching the different gifts that nature gives you throughout the year, because then you can use them in your mud kitchen. So it's a really great way to watch nature at the same time. You can also add shells, and I'll just turn it around again. So shells and rocks and stones. You can use different herbs from your garden. So remember how I mentioned food? Don't waste food. We don't use a lot of real food in our mud kitchens, but if we have excess of something in the house and it's going to go to waste, I do bring it out here and they can play with it. So it's rather than it going to waste, they can play with it here. And of course it adds a whole new sensory layer to their play and makes the mud pies smell good enough to eat. We also put them in like these little, I found these for 20 cents. Oh, this one was 50 cents. This one was 50 cents. And they were great. I've put a bit of colouring in it because it just makes it more exciting, but I think I have rosemary in that one. And in this one I have basil. So they'll use that in their mud play. And it's just, condiments and sauces. Oh, it's starting to rain. As I said, nature is really important to put it in your, I'm just going to move it out of the rain. but just nature, collect a bunch of things and leave it out. Baskets are so good for this. I wouldn't suggest putting them in jars because they get moldy and yucky, but they will dry out quite well in a basket if you leave them for a couple of days, and they can and then they can just throw them out when they're finished. So that's really great. We really love to use confetti, so nature confetti. So we use hole punches outside. Sometimes outside. I'm pretty cautious about it because they do get muddy and then they sometimes get destroyed. But the girls love it. If it's a Christmas themed, for example, it's Christmas, you can use this little snowflake hole puncher, and then it makes all their Christmas mud pies, all their mud pies into Christmas themed mud pies, and they love it, and it looks so pretty. That's the reason I prepared the cake. But how gorgeous is that? It's just so beautiful. Another thing they love to do is when we have stale, like we don't have ice cream very often. These are actually years old, but they're stale. And they love to make ice cream. So if you've got stale ice cream cones, they look, I can't do it with one hand, but they are so fun. You just put, your mud and your sand on top, and then you sprinkle them with nature glitter. So wonderful. And then of course you can bring in, there are things that you can bring in that you might want to make sure that some of the things that you bring in, you take away. So I've got like a little contraption thing that weighs items. So they're learning math in the mud kitchen. And I'm just going to move that away from the rain. But you might want to put those away because they might get damaged. They might be just little things that you can bring out that get them all excited. As well as even the teapot. I would tend to not use that all the time just because they'd be so excited about it. Oh, I've already prepared it for you. Let's have some tea. I hope the petals come out. They're going to be stuck in the bottom. You might also notice that I use a bit of glass as well. Like, I'm not a big fan of plastic. Plastic breaks in a mud kitchen, especially if it's outside in the backyard. It really does break and then it just snaps everywhere, and it's just not very good for the environment. So when you have littlies, I can understand you going with plastic, but they do learn pretty quickly that glass breaks. So I use sturdy glass, and we talk about when they were little, we talked about the glass and the fact that it can break. And they do learn to be more careful because you're giving them the opportunity to use the material, if that makes sense. So I use a lot of glass and a lot of stainless steel in my mud kitchen just because it just keeps a whole lot better. I use some wood, but when mud and wood combine, they do get really grotty and hard to clean, and they tend to, not look as nice because they're just stained with mud. So I too tend to stick to those materials. Does anyone have any questions? Oh, thanks, Annie. So Jamie said, I'm just going to scroll back. Jamie said we use a pump sprayer at our mud kitchen for the water. It's super fun to use the little hose. Oh, I know. The kids do like cleaning up their mud kitchen as well. I think they prefer if I do it though. They don't like cleaning. They'd prefer to make everything messy. Yeah, the punches are so lovely. I'm a bit addicted to leaf activities and using leaves for anything. But yeah, nature glitter is just really pretty, obviously eco-friendly, and it's just really, really environmentally friendly. So I love that about it. Is there anything else that I was going to show you? I think that was it. Now, if you're interested in learning more about what you want to do in your backyard, set up a backyard play space, I did want to let you know that the Nature Play Club is about to open soon. So it's a community for families to learn how to connect your kids with nature a little bit more and to design your own backyard with nature connection in mind, to make it really easy to get your kids outside and keep them out there longer. So if you are interested in that, just pop over to Mother Nature, and it has like the Nature Play Club on the information. But please let me know if you have any more questions. because I'd love to help. But hopefully I've shared a lot of information for you and inspired you to go home and create your own mud kitchen, because honestly it is, like, I can't even imagine my kids not having that in their childhood anymore. It is such a beautiful space in our backyard that encourages so much creativity and play. I absolutely love playing in the mud kitchen with my kids too. So yeah, do it. If you've been wanting to do it for a while, get onto it and do it. And even if it is just like Carla said, like a pop-up mud kitchen, that is really good if you have time just to set out a little bowl with mud, or just a little, dig up a dirt space for them and bring out a whole bunch of materials. That's enough. Like, they're going to have lots of fun, and if you join them, they're going to have even more fun because they just love doing it with the parents. We've had bake-offs before, mud bake-offs, which have actually led to tears sometimes because they get really involved in their mud kitchens. We've had people thinking that people were copying each other, and we had interesting discussions about, whether you should be taking inspiration from other people or not. It's just been such a ride. Did you buy the stainless steel sink in the hardware store? No, I think my stepdad, because he made it, picked it up from a second-hand store. Like, generally you can find sinks, just trying to think, you could buy a new one, but I'm pretty certain you could easily find one if put the call out to people on in your Facebook friend group or in local Facebook groups, and you can ask them for anything there. You can ask them for sinks, if you say a mud kitchen for your kids and someone has one lying around, they're going to be like, yes, take it. And the same as all the materials. If you just do a call out to your friend group or your local area on Facebook or anywhere, most people will be like, oh, well, I've got a whole bunch of materials I was about to donate. Do you want to have them? Really, it's not going to cost a lot to create your own mud kitchen if you just ask for help. Oh, you're welcome, Becky. Oh, you're going to be on a farm. That's so beautiful. I wish I had a farm, but we go on holidays on farm stays, and that's really lovely too. It means we get best of both worlds, and I don't have to clean up after the animals, which I used to do because I was a zookeeper for a few years. So I used to do that a lot. What ages do you suggest for this type of play? Great question, Christy. You can, really... I'm just thinking the youngest age. The girls got their mud kitchen, I think, when they were 6 or 7, and they've had it, they're 10 now. The twins are 10. So we've had it for years. But I think you could do it. It really depends. If you've got really little ones and you're willing to supervise them, because obviously they're going to put dirt and sand in their mouth when they're really little. If you're willing to supervise them, I think you can start a mud kitchen from any age. I'm still going strong. My 13-year-old still likes to come out and mud kitchen. Not as much, but she still comes out and plays with the mud kitchen and creates and bakes with mud. So she's still going strong with that too. And I'll let you know when it ends. But often when my 13-year-old's friends come over, they really enjoy playing in the mud too. So, and I still play in the mud kitchen. So I think it's all for all ages. I don't know. It'll be a sad day when I get rid of this mud kitchen. I probably won't get rid of it. I'll probably give it to my nieces and nephews. Oh, Rebecca, yeah, inspired me to go and clean up the mud kitchen, put a few fresh materials out there. I'm so glad. Just cleaning it up is going to help. It helps for me. As soon as I hose it off, they're back in there within 10, 30 minutes. It really doesn't take long. Yeah, Tamara, 3, but just make sure you're supervising. But even little babies love to play with mud. You just have to be way more careful because you don't want them to put it in their mouth. And good hygiene is important at the end, making sure that you remind them to wash their hands after they've been playing in their mud kitchen. Yeah, 9-year-olds, 7 or 8-year-olds, they're beautiful. Like they really, really love it. But I don't think, yeah, I think you can start when they're young because they're going to have so many years of it. I wish I bought it earlier. I know that as 5-year-olds or 6-year-olds, they would have still absolutely adored a mud kitchen. Okay, well, thank you for all your wonderful questions. I hope I've helped. I hope I've inspired you. And again, if you want to learn about the Nature Play Club, please head over to mothernature.com. But if you want any more lives, let me know what topics you'd like me to do. I really enjoy this sort of thing. Well, I used to be really nervous about lives. I'm feeling a little bit more comfortable now. But I love setting them all up and getting excited about it. So please let me know if you have any more requests for topics and I'll see what I can do. But have a lovely day or have a beautiful good night's sleep if you're at the other side of the world and it's night time. See you everyone.